For more on the fallout, let's bring in Democratic strategist Chris Kofinas. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, Lawrence.
Chris, one of the greatest political strategists of all time, one of the most effective speakers the House has ever seen, Tip O'Neill, coined a very simple phrase: all politics is local. I don't know any pundit out there today who's smarter about this than Tip O'Neill, and yet you hear all this talk in the last 24 hours about how somehow a governor's race in Virginia, where Barack Obama never really worked with the candidate, is somehow reflective of a failure for the Obama administration. It somehow means that Obama is failing with the public, even though his popularity in Virginia remains above 50%. How did we get to this, where people are assigning to the president losses of governorships?
Well, I think the Republicans are struggling to find a narrative out of last night's election. I mean, let's be frank about what the facts show. It was not a national referendum on President Obama. President Obama is still popular both in Virginia and in New Jersey and across the country, especially given considering the enormous number of problems that he's facing. In terms of both, New Jersey, Virginia, as well as the special election, what dominated those races really were local and statewide issues, whether it was the economy, jobs, health care, taxes, transportation. Those, I think, were the key factors. That's what it was a referendum on. It was also, I think, a referendum on those campaigns. In Virginia, to be frank about it, Bob McDonnell ran a very smart, disciplined campaign. Even though he's very conservative, he pretended to be a centrist. And then in New Jersey, I think Governor Corzine did as well a job as you could expect, considering the enormous economic challenges he has faced. But then you also saw in the special election in the 23rd district, Hoffman was a candidate who completely ignored the bread and butter local issues, if you will, and that's why Owens is now the representative from that district. So the notion of this being a national referendum just does not compute with the reality.
Chris, you've had to run campaigns against very tough Republican nominees. If this purge the party thing continues, do you expect to get lucky enough in future campaigns that you're trying to strategize for the Democrat, that you end up running in a moderate district or a moderate state against one of these right-wing Palin-style nominees? Is that just the gift that will keep on giving for you guys trying to run Democratic campaigns?
Well, it's surely going to help, going into the midterms and then even looking forward to 2012. I mean, here's the part that's, I think, somewhat interesting. The Republicans are suffering from this electoral delusion. They completely ignore, in fact, the reality that they won, for example, in New Jersey and Virginia because they ran candidates that were centrist, actually more conservative, but nonetheless, and that's why they were able to appeal to independents. But they still are struggling with this civil war within the various factions of their party, and because of that, you're going to see the right-wing elements, whether it's in Florida, in that Charlie Crist Senate race, or in other places like California, where the right wing is going to push these candidates to the right, and that's going to give an opening to the Democrats, the Democratic candidate, and that's going to be, I think, a significant advantage in what is going to be a very competitive environment come 2010.
And just quickly, the Republicans knocking Charlie Crist out of that nomination in Florida would almost be a necessary first step for the Democrats to win that state. He is a popular former governor of that state who clearly has shown his reach statewide.
He's a popular candidate, but here I think, but his numbers actually have been falling, and I think this is where the real lesson, I think, of last night's election is this anti-incumbent kind of feeling and the independents and how they kind of roared back. Now, in terms of the Democrats, this was an anti-democratic mood. This was really about appealing to the core messages that voters are focused on: the economy, jobs. Democrats focus on that. They're going to be in a good position to win in 2010.
Chris Kofinas, Democratic strategist, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks, Lawrence.